Minecraft Live was officially announced this week via this very catchy trailer in which they did say they would be sharing with us some on-the-horizon news and updates. This is very interesting because they also said in the Minecraft.net article that they might be sneaky and scatter some clues about what exactly is inside, which is why today I wanted to go through the most popular theories. Some people are saying maybe an end or a skulk update, maybe even a desert one, and although there is interesting evidence for each of these theories, which one of them actually stacks up and which ones are more reaches, I'll go into what you can actually believe alongside what is going on with the mob vote. This year seems to be pretty wild and like it's going to maybe upset people again. By the way, if you don't want to be upset by missing Minecraft news, consider subscribing to the channel. But anyway, this first comment comes in from Quasum, who says no one is talking about all of the floating islands in the trailer. I feel like this could be a hint towards an end update, or perhaps they're just bringing back those floating islands that were generated by mountains. This is a really interesting point because every single time they do a transition in the trailer, they do it with everything kind of pulsing on screen, and in particular when they say on the horizon news and updates, they have a sniffer and goat, two mobs that we as a community voted on, and then they also have bees and horses, two kind of newish feeling mobs right there, alongside three separate floating islands. There is this stony looking mountain to the top, there is what might be a meadow or a cherry grove to the right there, and then there's just a random cross section of a Minecraft world floating as random islands. These could all be a hint that they are just returning to the old style of beta terrain generation of having some floating islands, because Minecraft was known for those back in the day. This could be a hint that in the same way they have, all sorts of different terrain generation options, you might be able to pick floating islands as one. That's a fun idea. Or it could be a hint at the only place in the game which currently has massive island generation, the end being updated, something which Mojang knows the community wants. I would have to say it's a bit of a stretch to say that these are end representative, because there is nothing else in the trailer that points to the end, and these are specifically overworld generation. However, Mojang does know the community wants an end update. In fact, just take a look at the video from the announcement and you'll see that two of the most upvoted comments from Exode7414 was saying, I'm hoping for an end update or dimension update this year, and Dasher saying, I kind of want them to add a new end mob, something funky and odd. One of those is a lot easier than the other, but either way, it's not just my community here on YouTube, everyone is asking for an end update, and in the same way that when the community asked for a cave update, Mojang eventually acquiesced, and the same kind of similar thing with the Nether, would that hint that this is therefore going to be an end update? No, just because something has happened before, it doesn't mean it's a guarantee in the future, but I would say that if Mojang were thinking about an update and they were trying to get their bearings back, get a real big win from the community, an end update could be a great way to do that. However, what about the other thing that you see very clearly in this trailer? There is they go down to the deep dark and there is specifically a warden, so if they have a lot of time in the deep dark in this trailer, maybe they're going to do something with the mysterious portal. I do think this would be a really fun way to hint at it because this section of the trailer is objectively very cool. I think all of these Minecraft Live announcement trailers, they don't really have much information, but they still manage to be pretty exciting, which is one of the fun things that Element Animations does, who of course are the people who make it. This isn't made in-house by Minecraft, they just pay a studio a certain amount and say, go make us a cool trailer, which is what makes me think it's unlikely they're hinting at the next update in specific, subtle ways. Sadly, it seems Mojang previously hasn't really tried to do too much of that stuff, and although they've hinted this year is different by saying they're going to give some sneaky hints, I think that implies in future tense of that post, and not necessarily that the trailer itself is filled with hints. I think Mojang doesn't mind that the community breaks these things down, and a lot of people are going to go into Minecraft Live expecting either a skulk update, a whole new dimension from this thing, or at least an activation of this portal, or an end update, but I do think that some people sometimes take these reaches a little bit far. Like I saw this comment from MirrorWave5758 who says, oh, it says there's something on the horizon. Desert update, anyone? No, the word horizon doesn't mean that there's going to be a desert update. I don't know how you made that leap. However, despite that being true, the funniest thing is we have seen not only the Mojang developer actually have the sand layers that were snow layers retextured, we've not only seen them working on the desert, kind of tangentially that way, but we've also seen Minecraft's monthly newsletter, which went out this week, talk specifically about villagers and then show this picture of a desert village right here, which on the surface looks mostly normal, but if you look at the image itself, you can see some weird things. On the far left there, that is a type of sandstone wall that we don't have right now. Indeed, the sandstone path seems to be entirely different to what we have, and then you can also see, looking around the rest of the image, there's just a lot of weirdness, parts of this image that aren't immediately pick upable, that do imply that whichever they're doing here is not the normal vanilla game, because there are blocks you can't normally find. There is regular sandstone and there's cut sandstone, sure, but then there's some weird sandstone bricks, which we don't currently have in Minecraft. Is this a hint that they're adding sandstone bricks and sandstone brick walls to the game? I think it's possible, and I think the number of weird desert leaks that come out is a little bit strange, but I also think that this is just a slightly different texture pack being used here. Minecraft, for their trailers and their official artwork, for some reason don't use the default Minecraft textures. They use something that looks a little bit off from it. I have no idea why that's the case, and I think they maybe just have a weird texture pack installed here. But again, the fact that they're making so many texture errors related to the desert still is something. I just don't think it means that we can 100% know what the next update is until they announce it to us. By the way, I'm not even sure they'll announce the theme of the next update. At Minecraft Live, we'll be learning about what is on the horizon for Minecraft, but that doesn't necessarily confirm the theme. Indeed, I don't understand why Mojang is trying to go bigger is better when every time they promise something big, they chop it up into 4 separate updates in the span of years, and oh yeah, some of this stuff isn't going to get added at all because it was concept art. This is a valuable point from Codec 5824, not because I think it's a valuable prediction of what Mojang's going to do. They're not going to announce things that are going to take 4 years to come out. However, I think they're going to be cautious about what they announce again. They did this last year with the Tales and Trails update, and I think that was much better received than the Wild update before it, where they announced basically everything in the update and then some things that didn't come in the update at Minecraft Live, and we spent a whole year just waiting for those things to be added. I think instead they're going to be working on right now, and have been since June, polishing maybe 4 or 5 features in the next update, and they'll be able to show those without necessarily having to announce the theme. However, here's the fun thing. I don't think you could show 5 or 6 features from an end update without secretly revealing that it is an end update, or those features are going to be entirely unrelated to the rest. I don't think you could show 5 or 6 features from an update that is going to be desert related without also revealing that it's a desert update. You know, if there's 5 separate desert mobs or features, then it'll kind of tie us into where the next update is going. Obviously, Tales and Trails was deliberately kind of all over the place, and the Wild update was sort of the same. Will this be where they take 1.21, or will we be coming back to themed updates? We'll basically know for sure just from what comes at Minecraft Live, and that is the exciting thing. My personal take on this is that I like the idea of strong theming. I think it really helps ties updates together, because in theory, having no theme allows them to work on anything great from anywhere in the game. However, they seem to always try to tie it into small areas together. They're kind of worried about making really big changes in these non-themed updates, whereas if you take the entire end, you can do massive rebalances to a whole part of the game, and after 2 years of smaller updates of just making tweaks here and there, adding small features here or there, I think this would be a great opportunity to return to full form. 2023 is the opportunity for lots of places to do this, and I hope that Minecraft is the same. However, something I think a lot of people are worried about is the mob vote, and Forg2 has a really good point. Here's an idea: just show us gameplay of the mobs. They don't even need to be polished, but it would really help so much by showing us their features. They did confirm there'd be a mob vote this year, but they also basically confirmed they'll be sneaking us the details one by one, and we'll learn about the mobs at least a week before the vote. However, that still means we're going to be learning about mobs in maybe a paragraph or two, maybe via one of these cutesy animated videos of Jeb and Agnes, but we're still not going to be learning everything about the mob we're voting for. I think a lot of people voted for the Sniffer without fully understanding what the Rascal would do, or the Sniffer would do for that matter. I think a lot of people voted for the Phantom before they realized how bad that could be, and the Glow Squid obviously is the classic example where not only was it a YouTuber who told a lot of people to vote for it, but also people thought it had some mesmerizing power. No, it just makes things glow. I think the Glow Squid isn't as bad as people think, because the glowing actually makes signs a lot better, but I think we've had some real misses as a community, so maybe Mojang should just show us an unpolished version. I think the biggest reason they can't do this is because if they did it, people would say, well, you've done most of the work, why are you scrapping the mob? Whereas if they say it's a concept, then clearly we're choosing where they develop their resources. But what I think is even a better idea is crack magnets, which is what would be really interesting is if the mob vote had at least 3 new options, and then the second place option from the year before as the 4th option. It could give people who missed out on an option last year to rally together and have another shot at it. Who knows, it might end up being second place again and end up in the vote the year after. Also, if all the new options aren't very appealing, at least there will be an option that at least had some interest from the year before. That is a really good way to measure it. Maybe kind of bad for Mojang that they could say, oh yeah, all your options this year were so bad, we're going for second place from last year. But I do think this is a great way to do a vote, or maybe even have a one-time vote that's every single second place option from every single biome vote, mob vote, etc., and we get to choose between the best of those as a one-off event. I think there are so many great ways that Mojang can take advantage of this pool of mobs that the community doesn't love the most, but do love some amount, maybe even more than some features that are being added right now, and I think it's a great way to build some goodwill from those people, which is something I feel like Mojang really needs, because by the way, it's your last week to do that account migration. Something else it's your last week to do, indeed. McMahon's List says, yay for cats, why are you in Morocco? Commenting for the algorithm. I want to point this one out because obviously people enjoyed the cat videos. By the way, here's another one that was just chilling outside the Tourist Information Center. He was missing an eye, but it was very cute. I love that for some reason the Arab countries of the world just have wild cats and they all treat them very well. But yeah, if you're curious as to why I was in Morocco, it's because I picked the wrong time to visit a new country. I've wanted to visit all of the continents for a while. I picked 2020 as my year to do that, and something might have gone wrong that year. I don't know what, but I decided to finally travel to Africa for the first time. I picked an off day in September where I was sure nothing big would happen, and I was wrong because Minecraft Live was announced. But I booked a flight to Morocco about a month ago. I'm trying to rebuild travel into my schedule now that I don't have to travel between two continents just to keep my life afloat, and it's kind of a good thing overall. So thank you for the life update. Thank you for commenting for the algorithm. I really appreciate that. And something else I really appreciate is Mark Thompson's comment, because last week's Seed Sunday was specifically focusing on seeds from the end, and so I pointed out that 1/3 of your land area is in the overworld, but we focus almost all of our time there, whereas 1/3 of your land area is the Nether, and 1/3 is the end. And it's something that got me thinking as I was saying it. I had to think about it a little bit harder, which is why when I received this comment from Mark Thompson, I appreciate it because he said, is 1/3 of the land area really in the Nether though? Technically the Nether is 1/64th the size of the overworld in a sense. Sorry for being pedantic. I appreciate any comment that says sorry for being pedantic at the end, or some effect of look, I'm not trying to insult you, this is just how I believe this is wrong. Because if you come across and just say you're wrong and you're stupid on the internet, it's needlessly aggressive and it's not very fun. And so this is a comment that I was worried about myself. The Nether is smaller than the overworld on any one-to-one comparison sense. However, the overworld has a hard border, right, of where the Farlands hit, about 12.5 million blocks, which is also a hard border to where the Nether hits and the Nether Farlands begins, which means that you have the same land area in both. Realistically, you'll use about, 1/64th as much Nether as you will overworld space, but in terms of how much is in your world, it is about equal, which is just me being pedantic to defend myself. Speaking of defending myself, that's something I'm going to have to do if I want to beat Minecraft on a world where there is no end island from last week's Seed Sunday, which is something I will be starting very soon. So yeah, I am starting a new survival world and challenge on the channel. It will be happening just after the update comes out next week, and I am very excited for that. Maybe you are too. But the last thing I want to point out is that although I could spend a whole video talking about things I think are coming in 1.21, the things I want to see the most from Minecraft Live are definitely some form of cohesive theme, and some, part of the game, which Mojang can really upend in its own ways. I think I understand why they're trying to preserve as much of the game as they can, but I also understand that I would love to see a big development somewhere that it won't affect as many vanilla players if that's what they're worried about, and it's something I would love to see them do. Update the inventory, update the end, or maybe go a step further and add a whole new dimension. Whatever it is they do though, I'm curious to see. I will be streaming the show here on Sunday, October 15th. I got it wrong in the previous video. And also I'd love to hear your theories in the comments down below. Any questions, i.e. comments at the end of a question mark, will be something I look at for the next week's Q&A Saturday. So let me know any of your questions about this update, Minecraft Live, that whole process, or any of your theories because I would love to read them. But for now, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you for my new series starting soon. And indeed tomorrow's Seed Sunday, which is the biggest Seed Sunday on this channel ever, I believe. Do you remember when I did reviewing all of the default seeds and it took me over an hour, if I'm not mistaken? Well, maybe there are more default seeds now, and so it's going to be a wild time. Also, as a thank you for making it to the end of the video, here is a tiny cat that I saw on a step in Morocco. He was the tiniest cat I saw all day, and here is the cat when I walked past him later because he decided to adopt me. It was very cute. I have a new cat now, I think. I'm just kidding. I am back home. You can't import cats into the UK without a very long process, especially if they're strays, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.